You seriously think the internet is just a safe space and there's nothing dangerous on it? Well, you're in for a treat because I've found many disturbing videos and I've gathered them here for us to watch together. Make sure you stick to the end though, because you will learn some very dark things that you probably have never even heard of.
Caught on to Taylor Swift throwing shade at Ellen DeGeneres, right? And I'm talking about the interview where she says, I had to write these songs because of the people who wouldn't stop talking about all the guys I've dated. Trying to make Taylor look like the butt of the joke or that she just dates everybody. Ellen DeGeneres quite literally being that person. I'm not just talking about one time she showed up for the Ellen DeGeneres show. I'm talking about every time she showed up, that's what Ellen DeGeneres was telling her. To the point where this would be Taylor's reaction, just begging her to stop. Making it so uncomfortable for Taylor on the show. She has been speaking out about this and trying to warn us what it's like being around Ellen for years. One time Taylor Swift and Zac Efron even made a song talking about how weird Ellen was and then sang it to her face.
Better run, faster than my bullet. You can change up the lyrics though. If you want to. Ellen works a long day, giving weird interviews in a slick, cool sweater, and it gets kind of weird. Yeah, calling us out like we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but it's not just what you said and give. And we got cat videos and dick from Betty White and stuff, and it's always gonna get weird. It's not being weird. The song is all about Ellen. It's been, every single time I could on this show, it's really weird, really weird. All because Ellen.
At least for Taylor's sake, everything that Ellen DeGeneres put her through, she turned it into songs, which then turned into money, proving just how strong Taylor Swift was to overcome all the things Ellen DeGeneres did to her over the years.
She's just a child. That's very, very immature. Like, seriously?
Florida man claims dolphins forced him to build an underwater city. He said the dolphins kidnapped him, was found on the beach in Lee County. He was soaking wet, he was dehydrated, and he was confused. When they found him, he had detailed diagrams in the sand of what the underwater world looked like that he built for the dolphins. And it was so detailed, intrinsic, that the police was like, what in the world? He said a pod of dolphins took him while he was swimming and brought him to a place about 40 feet under the surface. He said they forced him to help him build underwater structures. He told the deputies the dolphins communicated with him using clicks. The leader of the dolphins was named Gerald. Out of all the names, his name could have been Tom. Gerald is so strong. That's like an old school name. Do you hear me? My Uncle Gerald told me. That sounds like that to me. That's so specific and random. So why would he lie about that? Gerald helped him breathe underwater. He created some type of air pocket. He said he spent 3 days working on what he describes as cities, towns, and condo-like structures. When the dolphins were satisfied with his work, they sent him back to the surface and told him they would return and get him for phase 2. I want to know what phase 2 is. I feel like they do have a plan. He went to the hospital. Medical staff treated him for dehydration, but found no signs of head injury, no mental confusion, no alcohol in his system, no drugs, like nothing that makes you think this man is mentally like, what he on? They also found seawater and marine particles in his lungs, suggesting he had been deep underwater for a long time without typical lung damage. He ain't drowned. 40 feet of water for 3 days, ain't drowned. This man holds a master's degree in aerospace engineering and has experience with deep sea technology, which he says is why the dolphins chose him. They arrested him because the resources that were used to find him. Whole time he was kidnapped. What I'm supposed to do? I didn't even know that it's illegal to talk to dolphins. Why would it be illegal to talk to dolphins?
How do we talk to dolphins to begin with?
It was just an accident that the government decided to wait 3 days before evacuating anyone from the Marshall Islands following a 15-megaton nuclear blast at Castle Bravo. This is actually the site that Bikini Bottom and SpongeBob is based off of. In real life, it's called Bikini Atoll. And the blast basically pulverized all the coral reefs on the island, shot everything up in the atmosphere. It came back down looking like snow, so all the kids went outside and started playing in radioactive coral reef dust. all developing leukemia, dwarfism, and horrible skin lesions and their hair falling out. And then the mothers who were pregnant on the island started giving birth to jellyfish babies. So that's what this was called for a long time. This was a conspiracy called jellyfish babies because they were just trying to discount the witness testimony. This was an island of 14,000 people, and instead of treating these people's ailments, the government decided to take them in as test subjects. This is called Project 4.1, and it's insane to me. Anyways, this is my driver. I just feel like everyone should know about this, especially because it's like SpongeBob was the most popular kids show, and it's based off of the most horrific thing that the U.S. government has done. At least in those years.
The Pentagon just asked for $54.6 billion to build a new autonomous weapons program. That is more than the entire Marine Corps budget, and they are calling the program DOG. DOG is an acronym for the Defense Autonomous Warfare Group. It started last year with $225 million. This year, they requested $54.6 billion. That's a 24,000% increase in just 12 months. That's bigger than the GDP of most countries. The Joint's chief chairman said autonomous weapons will be, quote, a key and essential part of everything we do. Internal documents show that they want to turn DOG into a full combatant command. That means drones, unmanned aircraft, autonomous ships, all across every domain of warfare. Now here's the part they bury. Less than 2% of that $54.6 billion is going towards safety and training. That means they are buying and building the weapons before they even create the rules on how to use them. When someone arms themselves with tools they don't fully understand, do they control those tools, or do the tools control them? If you want to stay updated on more dystopian tech news, then sign up for my free newsletter through the link in my bio. But as always, think about it, let me know what you think, follow me.
That's very interesting. Oh boy.
Breaking news. China
now.
is also faking, doing space things. Here's the space ball, and they even added a little light bulb on the top of it for,
space ball.
To add to like the aura of it. Seems legit. So China is doing the same thing, exploring space. And much like that Michelle, or whatever her last name was, the main girl there, astronaut, this guy is going to need rehab. He's going to be in that machine. He's going to be, remember, she was holding the weight, going back and forth after reacclimatizing to Earth's gravity. Don't ask Nikola Tesla about gravity, by the way. He wasn't a fan of the theory. He believed it was more about electromagnetism, buoyancy, and density, and that those were the laws that governed our world, not gravity. But you know what gravity helps with? The only time in this world, in this realm, that we can see centrifugal forces not working is the notion that we're on a spinning ball and that water is sticking to it, and that we are all sticking to a spinning ball. Whereas in the real world, if you put anything and centrifugal force it, spin it, things are flying outward and away from it. The only time that doesn't happen is on this spinning ball. So is that why they are so heavily discussing gravity and saying everything's all about gravity? Now, I can tell you this, there's a lot of deception going on in the world today. Notably, if you thought the files were crazy, wait until you hear what they're doing to the food area.
Another White House shooting. Oh my God, we live in such a violent, terrible country. Everything is so scary. Do not let this false flag get your attention. I need everyone to stop what they're doing and go search his name on Twitter and see if you run into the same exact problem that I just did. Elias Rodriguez. And for whatever reason, nothing will load. Try again. Now, if you type in any other name, it will pop up. And even if you type in Elias by itself or Rodriguez by itself, it will pop up. But when you type the name together, for whatever reason, it's memory banked. And I think they're doing that on purpose, especially Elon Dweeb Musk in specific, because Elias Rodriguez just so happened to have a trial tomorrow that everyone should be talking about, because he was the guy that supposedly pulled out the cut like Neosporin and shot 2 Israeli diplomats in the middle of DC last year. But for whatever reason, when I searched up his name, you would think this is a name you guys wanted to brag, shine, show in front of everybody, like, we gonna show what we gonna do to people that are anti-Semitic. He yelled, "Free Palestine." And yet, I have to do scrolling when I type in shooter, and I can't find his picture. This is Elias. Now, I remember. I'm a hater, not a liar. I never forget. You understand? Now, you're supposed to go on trial tomorrow for killing 2 Israeli people. I'm very interested to see what happens, because to me, I'm not gonna say what you look like, but, you look like a Zionist. These are the 2 people that were just so happened about to get married and then also make a move over to Israel that were shots. And they had a funeral concession for her, and then they did his funeral concession over there in Israel. So, I'm just wondering, where's Elias Rodriguez, and why can I not search his name up? And it's going to be funny because I know people in the comments are going to try to do it, and they're not going to be able to see it either because I just be knowing. No, I'm really not that interested in the White House shooting because supposedly you guys approached some guy that he started running, moving, grooving, vibing, sliding, shot back, and then you shot him. And then a juvenile got hit in the crossfire, but they're going to be okay. And the shooter, who knows? They could be dead. Guess what? Margin for error, you guessed it. Death. I do not give a fuck. What I do give a fuck about is that trial that's supposed to start tomorrow. I'll be wrong. I'll just be early. And I remember I said it was a false flag way back in the day. People were like, how are you going to call it a false flag? Because I'm like, wait, why have we not seen no video footage of this? And he just so happened to say free Palestine. I mean, that's convenient. It's like, hold on. Throw the fucking flag. Review the play. Come on, let's use our brains right here. You feel me? No, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. And even if I'm wrong, I still could be right. So, like, it's like, when I'm wrong, I still could have been right. Feel me? If you know, you know. Elite move.
Can dogs survive without a brain? The answer is yes. Excuse me, what? Meet Maggie, a mini Australian shepherd whose owner described her as always being a little off. The only issue she ever had was having a low sodium level until the age of 6 when Maggie started having seizures. Maggie's vet did an MRI and found out exactly why Maggie was a little weird. Maggie was living with only 5% of the brain she should have had as a full-grown adult Australian shepherd. Looking at how smooth and fluid-filled this brain is, it's honestly a miracle that this dog had lived to be 6 years old. Because not only was she missing a complete brain, but every time a dog learns a new trick, has new experiences, just like humans, our brain gets these deep folds in them. And Maggie's brain is basically smooth. It's the fluid that is filling her brain that explains it all. Maggie was diagnosed with hydrocephalus just being fluid on the brain. The only reason she had survived to be 6 years old was because of the low sodium levels, basically her body's ability of keeping her alive with only 5% of her brain, something she was most likely born with. It's even more shocking than the fact that Maggie lived a very full, happy life. She lived to be over 12 years old. With a brain so small, her survival rate was less than 2.
Wow, no brain pretty much, and she survived that long.
I can't stand these goats.
Like, how do we get up there?
Enough. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
What are you doing? There's something seriously
here?
wrong with them. Like, are they not embarrassed? You're a grown-ass goat. Look around. That space does not fit your body. Oh, you like the salt up there? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what, next time you're about to go on the cliff, just say that out loud. Have you heard what that sounds like out loud? Because I feel like you might need to.
Is that what they go up there for? Salt on rocks?
Time to panic yet over that cruise ship? Because it is still stuck in the Atlantic, and the most recent updates are even more terrifying than it was yesterday. A Dutch cruise ship full of passengers had left Argentina, and then people started dying. 1 death, sure, but once they got to 3, they were like, maybe we should slow this cruise ship down. Now they have confirmed lab testing that it's the hantavirus, the same virus that's only supposed to be spread from rodents to humans. If this random rodent virus sounds familiar, it's because Gene Hackman's wife succumbed to this. I believe this was in 2025 when they say, don't worry people, Gene Hackman didn't even have it even though his wife died from it. Their entire explanation of how she was exposed to this was based on their living conditions. They found multiple rats' nests, and we're not talking hidden in walls or in the attic. We're talking out in rooms because the living condition in this house was so bad. This is a cruise ship full of passengers on vacation. They're not in a hoarding situation. So why is a virus linked to infected rodents now being spread among the passengers on this cruise? Good question. Scientists are asking the exact same thing because this isn't supposed to be easily spread from human to human. What's even scarier is that it can take up to 8 weeks after you're infected for you to start to show symptoms. Even if everyone on this boat is tested, it could still take months before we know exactly how many of them have the virus. What started with 3 deaths, 1 in critical condition, has now multiplied. At least 7 cases, including the death, including the person who's still in critical condition, and now at least 3 other individuals showing signs of it. Scariest thing about this is now the CDC is kind of changing its guidelines on this virus. They once said you could only get infected if you came in contact with an infectant's rodent's urine or feces or like their nesting material. But now they're saying it can get airborne. That's right, if you mess with enough of this contaminated stuff, it literally becomes airborne and you breathe it in. And sure, this is a Dutch cruise line, but don't feel safe yet. So far, they've had Dutch, German, and British fatalities. So we're talking one of those nightmare situations where there's people from potentially around the entire world sitting on this ship, all of which are potentially being exposed to this virus. The CDC is now saying it's not impossible to spread human to human. So we're talking a cruise ship full of people from all over the world, and we don't know how many of them are infected.
Oh boy, we should keep them on the boat till it's all figured out. Let's not start a new COVID.
And here we have more extremely optional activities in China for another episode of Me Nah Do This. And honestly, you can't convince me that China doesn't have some kind of like culling process going on, you know, because there's easier ways to do this. Normally they'd have at least like a railing or something. I'm hoping this is a parachute that she has on and not just like, you know, her backpack for work. Because honestly, think about it. If they could make these stairs, they could make this safer, you know. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being me nah do this. Thousands, once again.
He just bought something from 100 million years ago back. What? Scientists at the Natural History Museum have taken insects that were literally frozen in amber since before the dinosaur era, yeah, and managed to extract and sequence their actual DNA. Now normally DNA breaks down over time, we all kind of know that, so surely taking something from millions of years ago, what's the point? But somehow parts of this insect's DNA were still intact. But this is where it gets crazy, so just stick with me, make sure to share this video. When they actually then tested what they found, some of the ancient DNA was still partially functional. Do you know what that means? Jurassic Park, here we come. Yeah, meaning it could still be read and still interact in an actual biological way. Like the live DNA hadn't actually switched off fully. It's been 100 million years, mate, so I think it's time to go. Now, this has never been seen at a level of this scale before, obviously, which is why this research is pretty groundbreaking. Because it suggests DNA can survive way longer than scientists ever thought before. And if genetic material can now survive this long, well, what else is out there still preserved? Genetic blueprints, completely unknown species, and actually could give us the clues of how life actually evolved and formed. Now, no, this isn't Jurassic Park, we're not cloning dinosaurs, not yet, but this is the closest thing we've ever had to accessing real biology and finding something out that we never even thought was possible. And well, if we can find out and understand how DNA survived, we might learn how to preserve or even repair our own in the future. This is going to evolve a lot, so hit that follow button, I'll keep you updated.
Why people them said this is in the Himalayas, and I never thought I would see a bridge that looks more dangerous than Flatbridge in Jamaica. Would this is this even a bridge? Would this be considered a bridge? I'm not doing this, you know. This is a Me Nah Do This for sure. As a matter of fact, let's start it over. Another episode of Me Nah Do This, and boy, are you going to rely on this person telling you, yeah man, just lock back your wheel this way? This looks so dangerous. Driving over the precipice of death like this, them couldn't put a longer bridge. Are these just pipes? Oh my god, I thought they were like cement or something. These are just pipes. So this is very makeshift. This is not a structure. Wow. Okay. How many cars you think didn't make it over? Oh, and it's a river down there. Oh gosh. Yeah man. There has to be a better way. The rims look nice though. Oh, it's different rims. Okay. Well, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to do this. What do y'all think? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Me Nah Do This. This is like a 62.
In case you missed it like I did, vehicles are about to have surveillance technology installed in them starting in 2027. Some people around the world are finding out that it's already installed in their vehicles. We're talking the kind of technology that doesn't just monitor your driving or you as the driver. We're talking about monitoring everything in and around your car. People inside of it are just the ones who have to deal with the very infuriating side effects of having this kind of technology in your vehicle.
I rented a car in Europe, and as the woman handed me the car keys, she said, this is a brand new car. And she was like super excited about it. She was like, it's 2026. It's a brand new car. And I was like, awesome. I was getting on a highway. It was a 6-lane highway. And all of a sudden the gas stopped working. I'm pressing on the gas. I can't get the car to go. So the car is dinging. It's making all this noise and I can't figure out what's going on. In English, it says, sit up straight. We can't find your eyes. And I'm short. So I sit low in the seat. And I don't know, maybe I'd been driving a while and I'd kind of slouched down more instead of sitting upright. But I was slowing down enough that it was going to cause a traffic hazard. And the thing is, it knew I wasn't asleep because I was pressing on the gas. So it knew I was awake. It just wanted to see my eyes. So once I sat upright and leaned forward, I guess it did facial recognition, sat upright, the gas would work once again. And then it says, may I send you these results to a third party? No, you may not. No. Who is the third party?
Drivers are now questioning who exactly is getting this footage from this surveillance technology inside of their personal property. And what third parties are being sent this information in the cars that already have the technology?
So Erica Kirk just spoke out publicly against Drewski, the comedian who made that video about her, and you just have to see what she said. Just watch.
Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country.
I'm just going to work backwards because I have to start here. The epidemic of dehumanization in this country is coming from Donald Trump, who, as recently as a month ago, celebrated one of his political opponents dying. There's no evidence that she was involved in the shooting, and I don't really care about her qualifications as Turning Point USA CEO. I think she should run it into the ground. But the idea that this is whiteface is not a thing. Just read a history book, my God. It's just absolutely remarkable how much Drewski has gotten under MAGA's skin for a comedy video. They are sensitive snowflakes who need a safe space.
Guys, somebody was just caught buying baby food from supermarkets and then putting rat poison inside of the jars and then putting it back on the shelf. And they did it across 3 different countries. So police just officially arrested a 39-year-old man who was walking in the grocery stores buying jars of baby food off of the shelf and then filling them with rat poison.
In Austria are warning parents to stay alert after a jar of baby food was found contaminated with rat poison.
And then he returned the jars to the exact same shelf so that parents would end up buying it. 5 different confirmed poisoned jars were found across multiple different stores before anybody could consume them, which is obviously great. And the reason why all of this is happening is because the guy sent the baby food company a blackmail email demanding 2 million euros in cryptocurrency. And he told them within the email that if they did not pay within 6 days, he would start poisoning their products on store shelves. They obviously didn't pay, and he actually followed through. The brand is called Hip, and it's actually the #1 baby food brand in all of Europe. They have now recalled every single thing across Austria, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. A customer was able to spot a jar that looked a little bit weird, and they found it before any babies were hurt, but this guy was fully ready for it to happen, and they just caught him yesterday.
Celeste's new death certificate longer says that she was not pregnant. You're saying that the rumors that David had Celeste Rivas pregnant might be true? It's just come out that Celeste Rivas potentially being pregnant could still be in the picture, because they are stating it's unknown if Celeste Rivas was pregnant. I completely thought that they ruled it out completely, that it was not remotely possible for Celeste Rivas to be pregnant. But it is now stated that TMC obtained Celeste's new death certificate and no longer says that she was not pregnant. Now that section is marked U for unknown? You're saying that the rumors that David had Celeste Rivas pregnant might be true? Can also be backed up by the fact that they are saying that David is charged with murdering Celeste Rivas, mutilating her body, and having sexual relationships with her before she turned 14 years old. And this whole time we've had this screenshot of David saying, me and @deleted_user, which used to be Celeste Rivas' Discord, got a kid on the way. And then Celeste Rivas herself provides even more proof of the pregnancy reveal, clearly having David's hand on her leg, making it all official. Like if she were saying, look guys, I'm with David right now. Now the proof looks a little bit iffy, but it could just be the lighting, because we know that Celeste Rivas is a little bit darker, and in the photo we can clearly see that she's a little bit more lighter, but it's most likely just the lighting right here. Other than that, this is definite proof that Celeste Rivas was ready to receive a baby, because she even responded to David's message by once again providing this picture right here on December 7th 2024. So yeah, this is not looking good whatsoever. We could potentially see this as a double homicide.
It looks like The Rock is paying his dues, because look what he wore at the Met Gala. These celebrities sure do love to humiliate themselves when they want to climb up in the ranks, don't they? And again, this is for everyone to see. He shows up at the Met Gala wearing this right here. A skirt. Again, if you know, you know. But this is what these celebrities do every single time. They go through all of these different things so they can stay in the positions that they are in. And The Rock is no different. Again, this is more humiliations out in the open because this is what these celebrities do. People really need to wake up and realize what exactly is going on because it's always right there for everybody to see if you look deep enough. What do you think about this?
A cheetah's paw. Compare that to a greyhound, the fastest dog species. Very similar. The other crazy thing about cheetahs versus dogs is that cheetahs are susceptible to diseases that only cats are, but they're also susceptible to diseases that only dogs are. That's a greyhound. There's a cheetah. The other crazy thing is that cheetahs are genetically identical to each other, which is a very rare anomaly to happen in nature. Almost like they're clones. I mean, think about it. You have dog species, and some dog species are a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. It doesn't matter on the breed. It might be, there's varying genetics. With cheetahs, they're like clones. Many people are wondering if this has anything to do with potentially ancient Anunnaki genetic tinkering.
Peptides aren't a supplement. They're a signal. People are not feeding their bodies anymore. They're programming them. Peptides are tiny chains of amino acids, but inside your body they act like messages telling your cells what to do. Doesn't sound very natural to me. That's why people use them for muscle, fat loss, skin, recovery. Because you're not fueling your body, you're instructing it. But some of these aren't even approved for humans. They're sold online as research chemicals, and people inject them anyway. What could possibly go wrong? So when it enters your body, your cells listen. And they don't ask what it changes. Ha! You don't care though, right?
Days of YouTubers not being considered real journalists are long gone. Because what's just happened today in the Minnesota fraud scandal is wild. So earlier this month, as reported by the Associated Press, federal prosecutors said that half of the $18 billion in federal funds that was given to 14 different Minnesota-run programs, we're talking disability care, addiction treatment centers, food for the underprivileged, childcare, etc. They believe that half of that may have been stolen. They said
the magnitude of the fraud in Minnesota cannot be overstated. Staggering amounts of money that have been lost.
But for the American taxpayers, those were just words. That is until a 23-year-old YouTuber, Nick Shirley, posted a video that for millions of people suddenly made it feel real. Nick went to multiple daycare centers in the region which he claimed had taken millions in state funding to look after hundreds of children. But when he entered, they were deserted. No children were found. Now, not only did this post go instantly viral, it got 116 million views on X and 1.9 million views on YouTube, but it was also seen and shared by huge political figures on the right, including Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. Even the U.S. Attorney General acknowledged Nick's video on X, saying that 98 individuals, 85 of which are Somali, have been charged in this fraud investigation. But today, it's gone even further because the DHS is now on the ground in Minneapolis going door to door at suspected fraud sites, even telling CNN that this was triggered in part because of Nick's video.
Did y'all see where the axle of a semi-truck dropped on this man while he was working on it? And for a split second, the security cameras captured this as his coworker come to help him. Now, apparently in the full video, there's only a split second, like one frame where you see this. The coworker who came and assisted and called 911 said that they were there the whole time. And he believes that they were angels saving this man's life. Because after an over 10,000 pound truck dropped on this man's noggin, he only suffered minor injuries, and he was completely fine. Now you can clearly see the two light beings over top of these two men. The one on the left has less of a humanoid type shape. It's more of like a blob, but it is going over the men helping. While the one on the right looks a lot more like a person. You can see hands, you can see feet, legs, but both these light beings are over top both of these men. And it's actually astonishing that somebody can have 10,000 pounds dropped on top of them and be fine. Have you ever witnessed anything like this? Let me know.
Walmart on Galveston Island is said to be haunted by the children of St. Mary's Orphanage, who were all killed in the 1900 storm that hit Galveston, which still today is the worst natural disaster to hit the United States. It is believed that between 8,000 to 12,000 people lost their lives in it, and that's only counting white male heads of household. At the time, the island was only 4 feet above sea level, and this orphanage stood where the Walmart stands today. As the storm raged, the sisters actually tethered the children to their own bodies using a clothesline, and they sung hymns to keep the children calm. But the building began buckling and swaying, not only with the wind, but there was a 15-foot storm surge that came across the island at one point in time, completely submerging it. Their orphanage stood no chance, and sadly 90 of the children would perish, along with the nuns that were attached to them. And they would be buried where they were found, many underneath the Walmart that stands there today. Now, reportedly, the toy aisle is extremely active with paranormal happenings, and because these activities supposedly escalate after 1 a.m., and because the children allegedly love to start playing with the cash registers around then, the store usually closes around 11 p.m. But the workers of Walmart are not the only ones who have heard these ghostly happenings. According to Ghosts of Galveston by Kathleen Maka, after Hurricane Ike happened in 2008, FEMA workers were actually allowed inside the heavily damaged Walmart in order to retrieve supplies. While inside, they thought children must have snuck in with them. They reported hearing children's laughter, wheezing, and coughing. But they searched the building and found nothing. So perhaps that is the reason why the Walmart on Galveston Island is haunted and closes early.
Bitch, I'm scared to go back home now. Oh, that Manifest movie was real. First it was the planes, now it's the trains. Oh, y'all, it was a train that went from St. Louis to Chicago, 253 passengers. My motherfucker went missing. Listen to what one of the employees said.
I do not have any other information other than no other train has passed that train. I do not know if we're going to make it or when we're going to make it. So know when you get on, this is your choice.
They just said that the train that left from here at 8 o'clock this morning, crazy, the train that left St. Louis at 8 a.m. didn't make it to Chicago, they said?
Right, yeah. I'm going to Springfield.
That's a little, and they don't even know, like they lost communication with the train. That's some scary.
Did y'all hear him? Now what y'all doing? Are y'all getting on the train? Y'all still trying to go home? Y'all like, nah, I probably got to take the plane or something. Cause he basically like, I can get on this train if y'all want to. Y'all might not make it to y'all destination. I might not even be alive. Ain't no telling what hole y'all done went through. What portal y'all done went through. Oh no, y'all seem a little fishy to me. All of a sudden they just lose communication with this train. Come on now. You got some people talking about it could have derailed, but they wouldn't know. You got some people talking about just because of snow that it probably broke down, but they wouldn't know. Any of these people family spoke up on something just a little bit off to me, y'all. Any updates? I got y'all.
Did you guys hear what just washed ashore on Cabo's beaches in Mexico? Not one, but 2 doomsday fish washed ashore on the beaches, which, by the way, over the last 100 years, at maybe maximum 20 doomsday fish have ever been seen along the beach. And it's said that a couple of doomsday fish washed ashore near Fukushima before that happened. Of course, officially, there's no science that will directly link it. Like, they're never going to say that anyway, but it is very shocking. You're literally lucky to see one of these things in your lives, but 2? So what do you think? Is something a little bit strange going on in the ocean right now? Because usually they wash ashore before tsunamis or hurricanes. This video is going viral right now, and I'm not talking about this intro clip of the ice wall or Antarctica. I'm talking about a video from the 50s of Antarctica and them flying over it and seeing other
Bunger leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught a sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white is turned to chocolate brown, dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone will prove Bunger has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the pole. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed-of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Bunger circles the largest lake in sight, 5 miles long. He comes in to make a landing. Water temperatures must be recorded. Samples taken. He finds the water fresh. Temperature 38 degrees Fahrenheit. On the shores are vast deposits of coal and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization. Mountain range with peaks 20,000 feet above sea level.
Now, this video is not AI, although the source of it is said to have leaked from some archive. All I know is that when human freedom is truly restored, and we are allowed to go beyond the ice wall, videos like this, but in full HD, not recorded with a potato, will blow our freaking minds. New trees, new species of animals, and possibly new races of people previously thought to be coming from either the stars or totally unknown to our natural world here, but exist beyond the realm of what is allowed for us to explore. The Antarctic Treaty, man, you got to do a deep dive. Project, Fishbowl Project, there's another one where they've explored and found things, and it's all classified, but we've heard leakings of the truth of what they found there, and it's absolutely shocking. There's so much more to this realm that we live in than what we may think. Comment your thoughts below and follow for more.
Trump's planning to resume the Iran war this week and has already found a way to do it without congressional approval. This week, Trump sent a letter to the Congress declaring the war over and all fighting finished. By doing this, he's reset the 60-day war clock, which is the amount of time presidents are allowed legally to fight a war without asking Congress to continue. Also coinciding with the massive American military buildup, including America's only hypersonic missiles, and the largest naval buildup since the Iraq War, and daily meetings with his cabinet about the Iran war, not the economy, nothing else, only war. This makes sense now why Trump doesn't want to open the Strait of Hormuz through diplomacy, because he wants to do it through warfare. The Iranians are already responding, building drones, digging up missile sites, and even repositioning air defenses. Ever since the first week of the ceasefire back in April, there has not been any negotiations between either side. And also, Trump's 60-day war limit ended this week, and he sent a letter to Congress declaring it over this week, which means as of next week, he can resume war legally, he really can, for another 60 days. Comment your thoughts, follow me for the news update.
What do you do with your life if your passion is putt-putt golf, but your job is embalming people? Put a mini golf course underneath your funeral home is the correct answer. This is part 6 of a series I'm calling Haha Oh No, where I talk about something that made me say haha, but then I thought about it for a little bit more and it did make me say oh no. In 1964, a man named Roger L. Grimm came to work for his family funeral home and found that 20 feet below the funeral home was a vast basement with no windows. Now that's usually the setup for a pretty messed up episode of Law & Order SVU, but instead he said so much room for activities, let's build a mini golf course. Now, I know your first question is going to be, can you play mini golf during an active funeral? No, that would be disrespectful to try and sneak in 9 holes while you're burying grandma. The course is closed during funerals. It is very much a death-themed mini golf course. They have the Grim Reaper's scythe on the wall. They have things that they have used before in the actual mortuary, like this miniature of their mausoleum that they use in the mini golf course. This skull is a training tool from mortuary school that the owner used when he was in school, and then when he was done with it, put it in the golf course. There's a soundtrack that plays of like screaming and spooky music and chains rattling, which seems super unnecessary. You're already in the basement of a funeral home. I don't know how a mini golf course could get spookier than that. And yes, they do offer up the mini golf course as part of their funeral package, and they say lots of people take them up on that offer. They even have the windmill from the putt-putt course on the sign for their funeral home. They seem to have an incredible sense of humor about this. It seems very cool. I'm probably going to go there eventually because it's in Illinois. This is their Instagram profile pic. It's definitely the cutest and most whimsical way you could be lured into a bunker 20 feet below a funeral home. Haha, oh no.